How am I feeling about the third series of Bridge of Lies? Really excited. It's not something that I thought I'd ever be doing. I absolutely love it, really enjoy it. It's good to be back on the BBC. It's good to be working with a professional company like STV. And, you know, it's really, what I love about it, I love doing the Saturday night specials with the celebs, and they've all been really warm and lovely. But it is great interacting with the public when I'm not talking about misery, because that's generally what I do when I'm talking to members of the public, whether it be people from the UK or people from South America or where else. And, you know, we had the biggest win we've had so far in an afternoon show. And I think it's one of the most watched new game shows out there. So, if not the most. So that was also rewarding. And I think we just, you know, it's a new format to succeed in such a kind of flooded market means that it's a good format. And we know that well, I know that it's been sold to Spain and elsewhere around the world, I believe also America. So if they like it, then it must be good. And the public seem to like it, and I enjoy doing it. And I don't think you can hide from that.
Obviously, there's a soap special.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, of course I do. And I think there's a camaraderie amongst people who work in soaps because, you know, look, it's not coal mining. It's certainly not working as a paramedic, but you get to do longer hours than most TV jobs, and you spend more time in the company of the company than you do probably with your own family. So there's a natural kind of camaraderie that comes out of interacting with soap actors. And, you know, it's just they play the competition between the soaps continuously in the magazines and the producers and this and that. But the actors, once they get together, they've got that kind of natural feeling of kind of, I get what you're going through kind of thing. So, you know, it's lovely.
Danielle Harold's on that episode. Did you two chat at all about Albert
Square? I'm her uncle, am I? I think I am her soap bubble uncle, which she pointed out first. And she's lovely and a very talented actress. And believe it or not, we filmed that on I think it was the Friday and the Saturday night. I think she won a TV award. You know, she won a TV award. So good on her. Simon, totally deserved.
Simon Gregson's, he's on it as well as
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Do you go back a long way with Simon?
Not really.
No.
Not really. I mean, the fact is, I was in it for 10 years. But if you look at what year it was 89 to 99, which is quite a long time ago. And for the last 25, 30 years, I've been making documentaries. I had gone back, and I went back specifically for Barbara's Leaving storyline because she asked me, and she was a very dear friend of mine. But you know, I owe EastEnders a lot, and I'm not one of those people that would ever try to forget that. Not that I would probably ever be able to, but I wouldn't want to either. You know, it was a platform that helped me travel the world and meet some of the most bizarre and most interesting, and occasionally some of the most dangerous people that exist in it and on it.
Thanks, EastEnders.
No, but and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, could I have carried on travelling to Elstree every day for the next 30 years? Some people rightly do. I wanted to do something else inside television, and I'm been very fortunate that, you know, television is continuously changing. It's going through a massive change right now, and I've been very lucky to see it pretty much at the top of the wave, you know, and surfed it relatively well, considering my limitations.
Would you go back?
I would never ever say no to that. Why would I? And I wouldn't say, I think I've ever said no to most things that I've been offered to do. You would be cutting your nose off to spite your face to say no. And it would look unkind, I think. you know, as I say, I owe it so much. But television was different then. People forget that very quickly. It was getting 25 million viewers every episode. Occasionally, I think Steve and I did the two-hander, it got 26, 27. I think Angie and Den got over 30 million people in the UK stopped doing what they were doing just to tune in to that particular episode. And the same for Coronation Street and for Emmerdale Farm, which I was also in. Now it's called Emmerdale. So it is the way we watch television, the way we interact with television is changing. And also the way that we look at the people that work in it is changing, because, you know, A-listers from Hollywood never used to do sofa commercials, right? Or, you know, real actors didn't work in soaps, or real actors didn't do game shows. Well, I don't care whether anyone describes me as a real actor or not. I'm certainly not a Hollywood A-lister. But I think now, you know, I am able. Last year I did a drama for Channel 5. I was 10 weeks away in Budapest. I did a game show that I absolutely love doing for the BBC. And I made documentaries, 6 documentaries around the world. So how lucky am I? I'm now unemployed though, so if you've got any work, could you push it my way?
Thinking about the effect that EastEnders had on your life,
Yeah.
just as a springboard, do you think you ever thought back then that you might be a game show host as well,
No,
as
of
part of your
course not.
armoury?
No, and that is the business. That's the way the world works. I'm looking at Bradley now. I mean, Bradley Walsh is probably on television more than anybody else, and he's very, very good, and is a lovely man to be around. You know, he's a great guy, and he totally deserves that success as far as I'm concerned. And he sort of led the way in that, really. But having said that, you know, one of my heroes when I was growing up, and still is, having met the man, was Bruce Forsyth. You know, I mean, he was Mr. Saturday Night, and there were more, I mean, some of the talented people that have presented game shows, far more talented than I will ever be. Bob Monkhouse, genius, you know, and you can go back, you know, they were all in their own ways. I mean, Les Dawson, I mean, what a talent and what a brain. You know, I am way, way behind them. So just to be on a BBC game show, I'm not doing too badly actually when you put those names out there. So very honoured to be involved, and I enjoy doing it. And also, it couldn't be more different from being up the Cauca Mountains with the Colombian army, with no night vision, no compass, using Google Maps daytime, trying to find cocaine labs to blow them up, which I was doing after I finished the game show.
3 years now, isn't it, since Barbara died? You spoke recently about how you still feel her presence around. What did you mean by that?
Because she's someone that I loved and I spoke to and I spent a lot of time with, and so I've got a picture of her in my house, so I bounce past that every day. It's a picture of her when she was about 23, wearing not very much, funnily enough. But I don't think of her in that way. I was just very fond of her, and she was one of those old big stars, you know, probably the like we will never see again. But that's not because she was a friend, and yeah, I was very close to her. We would sit at the back. So if you go, I don't know if you know, the set of the Vic is a bar, obviously, that goes around in a sort of horseshoe, or half semi-horseshoe. And then there's a stairwell that goes up through the middle of it. And that stairs goes nowhere. It goes up into some lights. But that telephone area, I'd let her sit on the stairs, and I'd sit on a crate, and we'd just natter in between scenes.
What do you think if she was looking down on you now, what kind of advice do you think she would give you about life?
She was just like, I wouldn't listen to her advice. Barbara, listen to her advice. She was so eyes and teeth and laughs and giggles and all that. But there was a very serious side to her, and she'd had a very, very, you know, she'd seen some quite dark things in her life. What would she be thinking now? Oh, she'd be thinking, talk more about me, darling. That's what she'd be saying. You ever mentioned the moment we did this? Oh, you missed an opportunity there. You should have gone there. Should have told him about that. I was always getting that kind of advice. She was very good at the relationship she had with the press, particularly at a time when the press were a different animal to they are now. And careful how I say that. But yeah, she was very good at how she presented herself. And she always had time for everybody. And I think that's something that I've tried to kind of follow in her footsteps or her stilettos. I've become the ambassador for London Poppy Day. So that's a mantle that she passed on to me, and the RBL wanted me to carry on it. And so, yeah, I think about her, you know, when we get around to that time of year, as I think of a lot of young men that I was with in Afghanistan who sadly didn't make it back, or if they did, they came back damaged in some way.
Do you have a favourite memory of when you were working together on EastEnders? Or was there a scene?
Yeah, there's one scene that I tell you about because I got bin liners of hate mail afterwards. So I remember looking at the script and go, oh no. And it says Ross hits Peggy. Oh no, Grant, sorry, there you go, Freudian. People go, oh, I'm sorry I called you Grant, I don't care. So Grant hits Peggy, or Ross, in fact, hits Barbara Windsor, megastar, right? Because that's how a lot of people are going to see it. Not Grant hits Peggy, but Ross Kemp hit Barbara Windsor last night. And this was when it was getting, you know, tens of millions of viewers. And so I said, do I really have to do this? And he said, yeah, but you can work it, you know. So I remember it was upstairs in the lounge of the Vic, and I came to the door, and I literally went, dink! Honestly, literally, it wouldn't have knocked a daffodil over. She went back like she'd been hit, like a professional stunt woman, like she'd been hit by Tyson, Fury, Mike Tyson, and Henry Cooper, right? She backflipped, knocked China out of the way, picture frames. They shouted cut, she came, she went, all right, darling. And yeah, thanks for that, Barbara. Because, yeah, they couldn't actually, at one point, I mean, the corridor up to my dressing room was blocked with bin liners of hate mail. But she knew that she was going to get some sympathy and make the character even more important than she already was, which was very difficult.